Thumbs up. Hey guys, welcome back to another episode of Still Dope. I'm Shahidah.
I'm Tanya.
And today we have a special guest, Kevin Jenkins from the Veganbourne on Instagram. You can follow him. And he's going to talk to us today about the vegan lifestyle in the Black community. But before we go into that, and I'm going to let Kevin give his credentials and tell his story. But before we go into that, I do want to talk about, just for 1 minute from each of us, our interpretation and what we felt on January 6th of this week, and how we're feeling about it. So with that, I want to open the floor up to you, Kevin, and let us know how you felt about that day.
Well, what's interesting about that is because one of the hats that I wear is a protective details specialist. And I was actually in Washington, D.C. the day before the riots because of a corporate client wanted us to do a detail of protection and needed security because they, of course, they did not know what to anticipate what was going to happen. So I took the bus there and got in Union Station and arrived to my destination. But as I was walking the streets to my destination, to the detail, I saw some small gatherings of MAGA people, and I said, oh, this is very small. Let's see what they're going to do, the next day. But they were gathering. When I finished my detail and headed back to New York, Union Station in DC, that's where all the trains and the buses come in. They were coming in by droves.
And I heard they had big buses.
They had big buses. And just to tell you, the time frame, I was scheduled to catch the bus at 7:30 a.m. So you're talking about, I probably went there like 6:45, 7, whatever, to get in line for the bus, and they were already there. They were already there in the station. Now, this is nothing new. As you can see, I'm a voracious reader, and there's a book called White Rage by Carol Anderson. You can't see my my email and all that stuff. I hope you can.
No.
Oh, yeah, good. All right. I forgot to turn my do not disturb stuff, so you hear these dings and stuff. Yeah. So she says basically the whole thesis of the book, Carol Anderson is a professor at Emory University. She says, every time there has been Black advancement, there's always been white backlash. She started from the beginning of this country and she ends at the time of President Obama, right? So this is nothing surprising to me. Nope. These individuals and others who passively allow this stuff to happen are people who are frightened, they are paranoid, and they are angry that white influence and power is getting ready to disappear as the nation becomes more and more multiracial. And so what they're doing is they're trying to hold on to power. And Donald Trump actually spoke to what their beliefs internally. Some of them didn't express it outwardly, but he spoke to how they really feel about a multiracial government. And so this was awful. I had a friend of mine who told me he actually cried. He's a strong Black brother. When he watched this thing, he cried. For me, I'm the consummate alpha male. Just say I don't cry now. I watched Sylvie's Love on Amazon and I cried, okay? That's the last time I cried. But, as a security consultant and stuff, I said, well, this is, and a historian, this was to be expected. We are dealing with another civil war. And America I know this is more than 1 minute, but America could have already fixed this thing, the first Civil War. They pardoned the Confederates. They gave them back their land. They didn't protect the rights of Black folk. They could have fixed this problem a long time ago, but they did not. Because even the most, you have, like you have Bud Light, Bud beer, there's Bud beer, that's a regular beer, and then there's Bud Light. Mm-hmm. So the regular beer is the more hardcore beer. So we have what is called white supremacy, the hardcore, but then we have the light version where folk ain't saying nothing. They just tacitly let it go by. They know it's wrong, but they ain't saying nothing. They don't want to stop because they want power.
Mm-hmm.
But you see, this is inevitable. Here's why I say, and I'll shut myself down because I can talk. Here's inevitable. Why is it inevitable? You got in place, positionally, first female, first African-American female, first Indian-American female could possibly potentially be president. Then in Georgia, first Black man to be elected senator in a Confederate place in Georgia. First Jewish man to be elected in a Confederate. This is the way America is looking. Now, here's what they need to do. They need to treat these individuals like they should have treated the Confederates. Exactly. Don't let them get away with anything. Starting number one with Donald Trump. Do you think if President Barack Obama did this type of thing, he would still be in office? The answer is no. By the way, sometimes I have a potty mouth. I don't want to be cussing on it.
Let it rip, because I am the queen of the cuss.
So, I mean, hell no. They'd have him removed. But this is a reckoning for America. Again. Once again, Providence is, it's like that bad relationship you have. You keep taking this person back. He says he loves you.
Yeah.
She says she loves you. And then they turn out to be
the same exact abusive person that you started out with in the beginning.
Yes, right. Even though they said, I'm sorry. So
yep. It means nothing.
They'll behave and they'll do right for about 6 months. Get your ass comfortable again.
Yeah.
And trust in them again. And they will revert right back to their old trifling ways. That's how this works, people.
That's America.
So Tanya, how your feelings? Your 1 minute.
Well, yeah, I'll probably take less than a minute because I've been ranting all week about this, and I've been ranting basically these past 4 years since this fool has been in office. Back to what the good doctor just said. If that was Barack Obama, let me take it a step further. If Barack Obama had 5 children and 3 baby mamas, his black ass would never be in the Senate or in the White House. That's just a fact. So, we can compare those apples and oranges all day, but all of this, I'm just a firm believer that all of this stems from the simple fact that a black man was president of the United States for 8 years. And that threw their asses into a tailspin. And that is the sole reason why that orange Cheeto was elected 4 years ago, because white folks have lost their damn minds. And when you look at the 6th the other day with this whole overthrowing of the Capitol, again, I wasn't surprised because, like Joy Reid stated, white people think they own America. And in owning that, they own the police. Why do you think it was so easy for them to storm the Capitol? And then you look at the video and the cops are just letting them in. If that was us, I think every black person, every person of color in this world that saw that collectively said at the same time, well, damn, if that was us peacefully protesting, we'd be shot dead on the lawn. They wouldn't ask questions. They just shot us all dead. Seeing the video of the cops helping the people down the stairs, just to leave and go away. There's no reason why 3-4 days later, these folks should be getting arrested at their home in other states. Our asses would have never made it back to the airport, nor the bus station, nor the train station. We'd have been shot dead. And all of us would have been arrested, even if we were just there but didn't do any type of, destruction or defecating on the floor and all of this crap. We would have been dead.
We would never got to that point.
We would never got there. I'm gonna let you go because I could, like the good doctor, I can keep going, and I don't want to stress out my perm right now. I flat ironed this good today. I don't need to stress it out.
One thing to say too, and it's basically, what you said, Kevin. it stems from the Civil War and
Mhm.
not having any repercussions. And they've grown steadily every year, every decade. That same type of, a grievance that is fake a grievance at that. It's basically that they cannot follow, the rules of this land. They want to be the rules of this land. They want to police us, basically. They're never, ever happy since the Civil War because they can't have slaves. And even though they can't have slaves like they did in 18, they still want us to be slaves. One of the most remarkable things that I've seen in the last couple of days is a picture of a Black man holding look like about maybe a 3-year-old daughter on his shoulders, and the police with a gun, rifle pointed right at him, a man with his child.
I saw that.
And these people, I didn't see that. I didn't see that same energy. Of course, we all know why. And I just keep replaying that mind and how traumatized that little girl is going to be. And think about all the children actually that were at Black Lives Matter, protests. There were a lot of people that brought their children who will be traumatized even more because we are traumatized people because of white America. And I don't know if I saw and noticed any children there. I did see a couple like buggies and, or whatever, but definitely I didn't see any pictures of the police attacking their children. And our children were attacked.
We didn't see the police attacking anybody.
Collectively, I think, like you said, Tanya, every Black person looked at that and was not shocked. What pissed me off to great heights is listening to all these paid commentators, all these paid analysts talk about how they were stunned. Stunned? He's only been saying he was going to do this for days and weeks. What was to be stunned about?
Right.
Yeah, it was a day of reckoning, and I'm glad that Joe Biden kept his language harsh when he described who these people were. None of that patriots, none of that people who were misguided by Trump. No, he called them thugs. He called them traitors and seditionists. Don't soften the language for these people, because we know just us having, being victims of police brutality, they'll dig way back to find a picture of us, at 15 years old in juvenile detention.
Right.
So yeah, I every day I wake up and I'm like, fucking America.
And lastly, listen, the lengths of restraint that the police showed was just comical. I mean, you had the gentleman that was carrying Nancy Pelosi's lectern and giving the peace sign and waving and smiling at the camera. And then you got Eric Garner in New York that literally got choked the hell out just for selling loose cigarettes on the street.
Yeah.
What's going on here? This isn't even up for debate anymore.
Yeah.
Right.
Listen, the best thing about this is that no one can ever come to us outside of our race, I should say, and try to have this debate with us, because now we've got the video proof. We've got the video proof to say, lose me with that Blue Lives Matter and All Lives Matter bullshit, basically, because you already know that was the proof on the pudding when they overtook the Capitol, that if that were a group of Muslims, a group of Black folks, a group of brown folks, we would have been dead, all in jail. And that's all I'm going to say.
Well, I'd like to add to that. Part of our healing is for Black folk to stop being, and I know I'm sounding extreme when I say this, stop being like mimicking Candace Owens. You know who she is, right? Yeah. You saw her Twitter feed, and she immediately showed some Black Lives Matter protests. In other words, that deep-seated psychotic denial. I was a therapist for 18 years, counseling people who had substance abuse issues. And one of the cornerstones of the issue was, anytime they tested positive for a drug, they say, it wasn't me. I didn't do it. I didn't relapse. And the reason why they do that is because number one, they want to protect their addiction, but number two, they don't want to change. And until you hit rock bottom, where you are desperate and you everything is just falling apart on you, then there's a time for you to change. So right now, maybe America is getting ready to hit rock bottom. Maybe that's what the deal is. It's getting ready to crash. And
there'll be some more violence first.
Oh yes, it's gonna be more violent.
Oh yeah, it's coming.
It's coming.
Yeah, we were birthed on violence. And I, as a person who reads, you should read Frances Cress Welsing, The ISIS Papers. Dr. Frances Cress Welsing, The ISIS Papers. Nothing to do with ISIS over there in Afghanistan.
Yeah,
but she talks
I've
about.
heard of that.
Yeah, Dr. Welsing died maybe 5 years ago, something like that. This sister was brilliant. And she talks about the reason why there's white folk are acting this way is because they fear genetic annihilation.
Yeah.
Because they have that recessive gene.
Yeah. And we definitely.
Yeah, you get a white person get together with a black person, and more likely it'll come out to be a person of color. You know what I'm saying? And that's not adding to the race. And these individuals who are white supremacists, they have there's a guy named I think his name is Southers. That's his last name. He's a brother that used to be Homeland Security, FBI. He did a wonderful interview on Instagram. And he talked about that some of these folk actually have a time clock where they say 2030, we better do something before 2030 or we're going to be the minority in America.
I don't doubt that they are already the minority when you think about it.
Yeah.
I mean, when you think about it, especially looking at, like you stated, Kevin, with the interracial couples now that you got out there and all these biracial kids, which I'm sorry, I consider them people of color or Black children, because when you look at them, they are clearly Black. And I just think that they're scared that they're already the minority and they don't want to lose that grip on that power.
Right. Yeah. That's why when Trump got in office, he immediately, first thing he did, he put a lot of judges on the bench to maintain that power. But they turned against him with the election. Some of these judges that turned him down were Trump supported judges. Appointed, I should say.
Yeah. Well, that's a good thing. That was the only safeguard we actually have.
Right. I mean, and it's also.
I'm going to end that. So
yes, please, because we can talk all day about this. Yeah.
Because this would be another hour, if not 4 or 5.
That means we just have to bring you back.
We definitely. Yeah, because we.
Well, you know what it is? It's therapy. That's what it is.
Yes, it is.
It is.
Yeah.
And you've said that several times all through COVID. The discussions we had definitely helped us. But back to our main podcast today, Kevin. Can you please give like a quick introduction of like who you are, what you represent, and what you're trying to do?
Well, as you stated, I'm on Instagram as the Veganbourne, and that's the Bourne part is spelled Bourne, like Jason Bourne. And I wear several hats. I'm a pastor. I'm a protection detail specialist. I'm a certified personal trainer. And I've been eating plants since I was 19 years old. And that will be, if I got my math straight, that will be eating plants for 46 years.
Meatless though.
Meatless, yes.
Wow. Okay.
Meatless. And, I turned July 28th is my birthday. So if I should live to this year, July 28th, I will be 66 years strong.
First of all,
I said Tanya's
wait a minute. First of all, July 28th is my mom's birthday. So I have an akin to that. I love that.
She'll remember.
I will always remember your birthday. But I'm sorry, could you repeat how old you're gonna be in July 28th?
Yeah, I'll be 66 years strong.
Amen, Jesus. I'm going into the plant life tonight.
She lying. She ain't gonna do it.
I am.
Well, I tell you how I got started.
Yeah, please tell us how you got started.
Well, I was working in the shipping department. I was born and raised in Buffalo, New York. And so I was working in this library here. What a great place. It was paradise for me because I'm a bibliophile. So I got a job in the library so I could take as many books out as I want, you know? And so I worked in the shipping department, and this guy, he's a hippie fella who was a truck driver. He's on staff, and we were talking to lunch, and he told me, guess how old he was? So I said, well, I think you're about 25 or something like that. He said, no, I'm 40. I said, well, what's up with that? He says, well, I'm vegetarian. So I said, what's that? You know, and he began to tell me that it's not eating meat, you know, that type of thing. I said, okay, that's interesting.
Kevin, real quick, context. What year was this? Because I don't think a lot of folks realize just how long.
Oh, yeah. That was about 1974. 1974, because I had just gotten out of high school. My graduation class is 73.
Wow. Okay.
So I was on this spiritual journey, and I, you know, of course, I lived the party life from 12 to 19, you know, doing my thing. And I said, you know, I need to get my body cleaned up. And then the staff guy, we were talking, and I said, you know what? I'm gonna do my research. And I was still living home at that time, hadn't moved out yet. And I told my mom that I said, I'm going to be a vegetarian, you know. So my mother didn't say nothing. Now my mom is from Winston-Salem, North Carolina. So, you know, those folk know how to fry some chicken. So she was cooking when I made this announcement, and she had the brown paper bag with the spices and the flour in there with the chicken, shaking it up, put it on that hot grease iron skillet. And that aroma of that fried chicken was filling the entire house. And I
you gave up meat on that day?
I'm sorry?
I said, and you gave up chicken on that day?
Oh, no, I did not. I said, I'm gonna eat this chicken. I'm gonna postpone this thing.
I was gonna say, brother, you got way much willpower, because
I said, I'm gonna postpone chicken that day, tore that chicken up. Then I said, no, I gotta get serious about this. So I'm in the library, and I bought some books. One of the books is about this woman named Frances. I don't know if she's male or female, but Frances LePay, Died for a Small Planet. That was one of the first books I read. And then I just went cold turkey. I said, okay, I'm gonna be vegetarian. And my mother thought I was crazy, because at one time I was doing vegetarian, and I was getting into yoga, and I was getting martial arts. It's like every week I was doing something different. She said, what's wrong with my baby? You know what I mean? But I got it together. And then eventually I went to an HBCU called Oakwood University in Huntsville, Alabama. And what it's noted for, and this is a lot people don't know, it is the only vegetarian vegan HBCU in America.
What?
since 1896.
I mean, your face is my face, because I'm like,
well, number one, I've never heard of Oakwood University.
Yeah.
And the whole vegan, that's crazy. That's
Yeah, and it's connected
what year did you go to this school? Again, it's like the context is amazing to me.
Yeah.
Yeah, I started in 1978.
Wow.
Now it's connected to the Seventh Day. It's connected to the Seventh Day Adventist Church. I'm a Seventh Day Adventist believer, and we recommend folk not to eat meat. Dan Buettner wrote this book called The Blue Zones, the 5 Blue Zones. And, you know, these are people live to 100, and they're still active. They still have cognitive, strength. And one blue zone is only found in America, and that's in Loma Linda, California. And that is a place where a group of Seventh-day Adventists, a lot of Seventh-day Adventists live there. And they grow up to be 80, 89, 100. I think this Dr. Warham, they featured on CNN. He just died, I think, a year or two ago at 104. He was still mowing his lawn. He was still driving, wife still alive. I think she's still alive even today. And he's been vegan for like 50 odd years or something like that. So as a result of becoming a vegetarian, I like to go to the doctor, and the doctor, you need to do the physical. And the doctor said, hey, man, your cholesterol is like high, and, I may have to put you on medication. I said, no, let me figure this out. Right. Mm-hmm. And, being a vegetarian means you're still eating eggs, milk, cheese. Big time cheese eater. My God. If you're having a party with some cheese and they cut it up in those cubes and stuff like that, and I'll be the one sampling everything. So something said to me, an impression in my mind says you need to go vegan. You need to give up cheese. You need to give up dairy. You know, well, I have at that point I didn't drink any milk. And then I called my colleague who we went to school together, and I said, "Hey man, I'm gonna go vegan." And he said, "Who told you that? Who told you that?" I said, "Well, I just got this impression in my mind." He says, "Did some girl tell you that, man? You trying to do this for some girl?" You know, that's how we roll, right? He said, "Because I got the same impression too, man." You know, he's already vegetarian. So I went vegan in 2015, and I decided, hey, let me, learn not about veganism, but to help other folks. So I got certified at this place called Main Street Vegan Academy by Victoria Moran. That's on Instagram if you want to find it. And she runs a place in Harlem. She lives in Harlem. And I got certified as a vegan lifestyle coach and educator, so I can help anybody transition. And then I did something online with eCornell with this thing called certification in plant-based nutrition by T. Colin Campbell certification. So I did that. All those two things I did so I can help people, because I know it's, transitioning, it's really a mental thing, basically, because you're so used to eating meat with your food. And it's easier now, by the way. It's very easy to transition because they got all these mock meats and all these products. Back when I did it in 74, I was doing a lot of grilled cheese on whole wheat sandwiches, stuff like that, and they had a restaurant called the Greenfield in Buffalo, so I would go there a lot, but I could say that, oh, by the way, so when I did go back to this thing with my doctor, so when I transitioned to the vegan lifestyle and I got my physical the next year, my cholesterol dropped, boom. And my doctor's funny, he said, well, whatever you're doing, keep on doing it. Now, you see, they're trained to put you on medication and not to tell you to modify your diet. So, he's going to put me on some pills and stuff. I said, no, you ain't going to put me on no pills. I'm going to figure this thing out. And so when the results came back the next year, he says, well, whatever you're doing, keep on doing it. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. So, and I have an extraordinary amount of energy. I am not the typical 65, 66 guy. You know what I mean? If I shave this beard off, I get ID'd. I can't even get a senior discount on the train without getting ID'd. Now that you have the mask on, they don't bother to ID you anymore. But I remember because I go to Jersey sometime, and I got this ticket. I said, oh, wait a minute. I get this senior discount. Why am I buying the regular, ticket? So I got the ticket, and I'm riding on the train, and I was clean shaven this summer and everything. And this sister who's the conductor, and she was so funny. They always check your tickets. Mm-hmm. And she looked at my ticket and she said, can I see some ID? I said,
would have done the same thing.
I said, sure. I get my ID and my license. And then she said, wait a minute. She got her glasses out of her pocket. So she really wanted to see if this is the birth date, 7/28/55, right? And she said, man, if you got a sister, she must be mad with you. I said, well, I do, but she's my younger sister. I'm the oldest in the family. But I've gotten ID like at least 4 times on the New Jersey Transit, because they couldn't believe, they thought I was trying to get over, the discount. But I laugh at it because they're not profiling me. They just, because it says when you get the ticket, you might be asked for an ID. Sometimes they be gentle and say, well, are you in the military? Are you in law enforcement? I said, no. Sister, can I see some ID?
Wow.
That's amazing.
So I have a lot of energy, I'm really blessed. I mean, I have an energy of a guy that's like 35, 40. You know what I mean? No, I'm not on any medication. I ain't got nothing wrong.
Wow.
Nothing. You read between the lines. Nothing. You know what I mean?
Okay. Wow. It's very rare that I'm rendered speechless, but
let me ask you a question, because I am kind of floored that you went to a college in the 70s that was vegan, because I think a lot of times when African Americans think of veganism, we don't think that, we stretch back that far. That it's more of like a millennial thing now.
Yeah.
And like younger people are doing it. And like my son, he has been vegan maybe 10 years now. And my granddaughter is 6 years old and she has never had meat. Never
Beautiful.
had meat. No chicken, nothing. Ever. You know, she's 6 and she's an Amazon. She's
beautiful.
Yeah. Strong. But and I really kind of show her off to people who say, well, you know, how could you survive without any meat? And I still love meat. I'm eating chicken. But I'm like, you can definitely see that this 6-year-old who has never had meat still has a healthy life. You know, she's still strong, probably stronger than a lot of her, playmates, because, she has a better diet. Yeah. But in the African American community, and specifically with us and obesity, and I understand that you are really trying to kind of enlighten the community on veganism. What is probably the main argument you hear from African Americans when it comes to saying, converting to that lifestyle?
Well, I think the main argument is that, I just can't do this. I got to have my chicken. I got to have my steak, my burger.
Because it's a mindset, because that's what we were raised on. I mean, I know me coming up, I was raised in a household that it was fried. When you said the fried chicken, when your mama was making the fried chicken, fried pork chops, fried everything, even your vegetables like string beans or broccoli was cooked to the point where it was so soggy that it's like, where's the nutritional value? But as a kid and as a teenager, I didn't know any better because that's what was being fed to me.
Well, absolutely. But what's interesting? Now, of course, I'm coming from a Bible standpoint here. The first Black people, the first human beings were Black.
Of course.
Right? We got that right.
Yes.
Yeah. So
people will try to argue with us till the death about that, but that's a whole nother conversation.
Genesis chapter 1, I think it's 26 or 29. Between those verses there, the Creator gave our first Black parents born in Africa, said you eat plants. Mm-hmm. I think it's 26 or 29. I may have to look that up before we leave, because our bodies were designed to eat plants. Mm-hmm. That's what the Creator is. If we were not designed to eat plants, we would eat meat raw. We would need to season it. We would need to cook it. We would need to fry it, bake it, broil it, whatever we do it, barbecue it. No lion says, when you see on National Geographic and those pictures of those lions going after those gazelles and everything, and then he captures that gazelle and he brings it back, to the pride and say, hey boys, let's barbecue this bad boy for the 4th of July. No, they ripping that thing up.
Yep. Because
they are natural meat eaters. We're not. And this is why what happens, a lot of Black folk now have the issue of obesity. And we just had some stars that died of it, Chadwick Boseman and others, colon cancer.
Yeah.
Because the meat stays in your system for 72 hours. Now, remember now, and I don't want to sound gross here, but you're eating a dead corpse. That's what you're doing. And you're having somebody to kill it for you. You ain't killing it. Paul McCartney said, the former Beatle Paul McCartney, he said, if slaughterhouses had windows, everybody be a vegetarian.
Oh yeah, I would agree with that.
Yeah, you would see what happens horrendously to these animals for you to eat those things. And so, but the fastest growing, by the way, ladies, the fastest growing demographic that was put out by the Washington Post last year, who's going vegan, are African Americans. They're the fastest growing demographic in America who is turning to veganism. And largely because a lot of the guys who are like hip hop guys that they look up to, turning vegan. Beyonce, Jay-Z, Jermaine Dupri, Stick of Dead Prez, and so many individuals who are turning vegan. And they're seeing that this is something cool to do, but they're also seeing the benefits when you stop eating a dead corpse with blood in it. So you talking about rage?
Sir.
You know, that animal's killed with rage and fear, and that stuff gets into you.
Yeah. Okay. So I'm sorry. I have to say this. All right. So throughout my life, you know, I've prided myself in that I've tried to eat healthy and work out on a regular basis up until present day. I try to keep my diet. I try to keep a lot of health, like vegetables, like raw vegetables in my diet. But I will have to admit, yes, I do eat meat. I chicken, steak, lamb, seafood. I love my seafood like broiled or baked. But I did try, maybe about 10 years ago, I tried the vegan lifestyle. And when I tell you, and maybe you can speak to this, I mean, I've never been on drugs, so I don't know what detoxing feels like.
Yeah.
But a week into this veganism that I was trying, because I was like, I come in the mindset, I'm going cold turkey, everything. I'm not going to just say, oh, I'm taking away the meat and I'm still going to eat eggs and milk and fish or what have you. I'm like, I'm taking it all away. And I went to the supermarket, bought all my produce, bought the, you know, the plant-based, what is it? The Meat Possible and what was the other stuff?
Impossible Burger, yeah.
The Impossible Burgers and stuff. Kevin, when I tell you, like 5 days into it, I was in the fetal position in my room because I was just miserable. I wanted real meat. And I don't know if that was just and I'm in the healthcare industry. So it's like, I kind of knew that my body was kind of detoxing all of that crap that I've been shoveling into my mouth forever. But I literally thought I was going to die. And I was miserable. I had an attitude. I was miserable. I had a headache. I couldn't be around people because I was short with them and just like, get away from me. It's like people that quit smoking cigarettes or quit whatever their vices are, or heroin addicts that go into detox or go into rehab. I was sweating. I legit thought I was going through the DTs. And then I fell off the wagon. I was like, I got to have a piece of chicken. I can't.
You were going through what an addict goes through, withdrawals and stuff. That's what you were going through. This is why I tell people when they do this, it has to be in a gradual situation because it's a mindset. You know, and you have to do it gradually to replace stuff. Now, some folk like me, I just do it cold turkey. Some folk are like that, but the majority of people and you need a support network. You need somebody that you can talk. It's just almost like giving up drugs because meat is addictive. You know what I mean? Yeah, meat is addictive.
It was
painful. When you begin to have that support group and you do it gradually and with an attitude that you're not missing anything, because you get an app called Happy Cow on your iPhone or your Android, and you can go anywhere in the world and they'll find you a vegetarian or vegan restaurant anywhere. I was in Barcelona, Spain 2 years ago, and I looked at Happy Cow. Oh yes, okay, there it is, down the street here. There's a vegan restaurant or somebody serving vegan friendly. So around the world. So it's all about getting that support. And that's what I found out when I first transitioned to veganism in 2015, is that on Facebook, there are so many Black vegan support groups. I mean, it's amazing.
Yeah.
And we're such a small community that, when somebody comes here, because I used to have these, I forget what they call these things, but these Veg Fest type things, before the pandemic. And so you come to the Veg Fest and everybody say, hey, I saw you on Facebook. Everybody know each other and that type of thing. And also the issue is learning how to have the proper equipment in your kitchen. You need a blender, you need a juicer, you know what I mean? Those things are outstanding. A good Vitamix blender for your smoothies, a food processor so you ground up, lentils and you make burgers or whatever the case may be. Those things you need to be coached about. And you'll see you'll see the outcome when you begin to do that. Now, I want to say also that veganism is not just a diet. It is a protest against cruelty. That's my definition. So that means it's not only just your diet, but I have, even when I got in this thing about being certified as a vegan lifestyle coach and educator, and it's a 5-day event. You know what I mean? Then I found out, man, they be killing these animals for fashion. I mean, horrific. So I said, okay, well, let's see how I can replace my shoes and stuff like that. That was the main thing for me. So I found this thing called Will's Vegan Shoes, where they were all men and female dress shoes, and they then won't break the bank. And they're not made by any animals. I got this, there's a place called veganleatherusa.com. I hope I got that right. You know, because I'm very careful about websites. I'm not leading nobody to no porn site or anything like that. I believe it's, just look up vegan leather. And they're doing these closeouts. I think you see that a lot on.
I've seen it before.
Yeah, yeah. I got 2 leather jackets, cruelty free. You know,
That's amazing.
I mean, you're not missing nothing at all. So it's all about, you know, just doing the clothes thing, the eating thing, and then you're saving the environment. Veg News, I think that's the name of the magazine, has an issue today, this month, the first issue of 2021, call it the Black Vegan Issue, where they feature nothing but Black folk, Black vegans. That's good for anybody who wants to get started in veganism. Restaurants, connections, Instagram sites, everything. It's awesome. And,
so, okay, so vegetarian as opposed to vegan. So just so that our folks know, it's like if you're just a vegetarian, you're just not eating meat, correct? Or can you not eat meat but still eat dairy and fish?
Okay. Well, let me give you I'm gonna add a third one that everybody gets confused with. Vegetarian is a person that does not eat meat, but they or fish, but they'll still do dairy products like eggs and milk. A pescatarian is a person that does not eat meat, but they just eat seafood, right? Okay. The vegan does not eat meat, seafood, nor dairy, and expand a little bit and don't wear any cruelty fashion.
Right.
They wear cruelty-free fashion. So that's how that goes. Because a lot of folks said, well, I don't eat no meat, but I'll eat some fish. Well, you're a pescatarian. And then the thing about fish is that they think fish is, I hear this a lot in my profession. Well, Jesus ate fish. Well, I said, Jesus didn't have no polluted waters back in his day, like we have today. I had a friend of mine, I posted an article, and they said they found these fish off some shore, and they had all this garbage in them, and cocaine, and amphetamines all in there, all in the body, right? Sure. And the interesting thing about my friends, he posted, he said, man, those fish know how to party, don't they?
Well, it's the same with like shellfish, like lobsters and crabs. I'll be the first one to admit I love my seafood. But I always
New England people.
I mean, we're New England people, but I always laugh when I see the price of lobsters and crabs, and I'm like, they're bottom feeders. Like they eat the shit off the bottom of the floor.
There you go.
I'm still gonna eat it. I'm still gonna eat it. But why is it? I'm in the store and the seafood monger, and I'm like, why are you charging me like $35 for one lobster? They're bottom feeders. They're eating the shit.
Yeah.
Give me like 2 for 30 or something.
What I would tell you, you ever heard of Gardein products? Gardein?
Yes.
So try their fish. Try their vegan fish.
I've never tried their fish. I've tried their
What is it exactly? What is it?
Well, Gardeins are like, I call them transitional.
It's a brand.
Okay.
It's a brand. It's a brand, yeah.
Okay.
The Target sells a lot of that.
Yeah.
Walmart sells a lot of that. You know what I mean? But you can find them anywhere, because even in my supermarket, right across the street from me, I just saw some Gardein products in there. So, it's not that they're doing it because they want you to be health conscious. It's about the money.
Well,
And you'd be surprised how many famous Black people who are vegan. You ever heard of a guy named John Sally? He used to play basketball.
Oh my God, he
He's
looks fantastic.
He's a big time vegan.
I just saw him yesterday on Gabrielle Union's show, and we were just saying, how old is he?
Yeah. That detective show. What's
right. LA's Best or something like
LA's Finest.
I think John Sally's probably like maybe 5 or 6 years older than us. He's probably, I don't think he's 60, but I think he's late 50s.
He's a big time advocate.
Yes, he is.
And he was one of the first investors in Beyond Meat. And I said, if I had been smart enough, I would have invested in that, because that's going off the chain.
I heard about John Sally being vegan because actually John Sally's first cousin is actually a really good friend of mine. Okay. And when he was telling me about, and they look exactly alike, but Sal is not vegan and John Sally is. And, and you can see the difference when I see them both, and I'm like, oh yeah, bro, you need to get on that vegan lifestyle, because your cousin, who is like 10 years older than you, should follow him on looks Instagram. Like 15 years younger than you. Like John Sally looks really, really good. Yeah, you should follow him on Instagram. I mean, he has a great Instagram page, and I think he's even opened up a restaurant somewhere. But there's so many. What's that guy's name? Maybe I got it right. Jermaine Dupree. Oh yeah, Jermaine Dupree. Right? Yeah. He's a producer, right? Is he vegan? I didn't know he was vegan. Jermaine Dupree is big time. Peter just gave him a big award a month ago. Nice. Yeah. What about Busta Rhymes? Is Busta Rhymes vegan? Because just recently I saw, apparently Busta Rhymes, like maybe 6 months ago, was really overweight. Yeah. Just in the midsection. Yeah. And he looks great. If you go to his Instagram, I saw an article on him the other day, but it didn't specify how he, with regard to his diet, they were basically focusing on his workout routine, and he looks incredible. I mean, it really impresses me when I see folks within our age group, our 50 over group, that are overweight, and then being the age that we are, like tightening up and getting it together and getting back down to that size that you were, that fitness that you were when we were in our 20s or in teens or what have you. So he gets mad respect. But when you were talking about the celebrities that are vegan, I was like, it clicked. I was like, I wonder if that Busta Rhymes is vegan, because he looks fabulous. I mean, the man has like an 18 pack right now. Well, it's interesting that big belly, especially for men, sets a man up for stroke. And a woman too, but also that belly is a revelation of impacted waste that has not been eliminated, right? Because again, I'm depressed. It takes 72 hours for that meat to get out of you. Because you know what happens when you start eating vegetables and fruit? It's fiber. That's the missing ingredient in America, fiber. Right. You should be able to go into the bathroom after you eat. I mean, every time you eat a meal, it could be a couple hours later, whatever. But anytime you eat a meal, you should be going to the bathroom. If you're not going to the bathroom, you have a fiber issue. I used to teach at this senior center, for men over 50, something like that, or whatever they were. I mean, I think when you're senior, like 60 or something. By the way, the word is no longer senior, because I have someone who's in that field. It's older adult. That's how you refer to them now. Oh, is that the new word now? I didn't know. That's the new word. Yeah, older adult. Yeah. But anyway, this guy came to me and he said, hey, doc, man. I mean, he came to me privately. He said, man, I have not been able to go to the bathroom for a week. Oh, that's not good. That's what I said. I said, number one, you need to go to your doctor. And number two, what are you eating? He said, well, I eat a lot of meat and stuff like that. I said, you need to increase your fiber intake. Mm-hmm. That's what you need to do. Get yourself a big salad, all the colors in there, everything that you like. Put that dressing in there, if you make it, or whatever dressing you like, and start eating that, drinking some water, you know what I mean, and just going to the bathroom. Another thing that hurts, and we're talking about as far as men is concerned, with that big belly, is that a lot of guys, and not just older, but even younger, because I was in the gym one day,
And these guys like 35, they could have been my sons. They talk about using Viagra and all this other stuff because they got issues.
I was gonna bring that up. I'm glad you brought that up.
What's the problem? You know, the problem is that is the canary in the coal mine. That is telling you got some blockage somewhere in the heart.
Oh, wow.
And I tell guys that no matter how old you are, if you have a healthy heart, you should wake up every day with an erection.
Yes, absolutely. I agree with you. I agree with you 100%.
Okay? Every day. It's just some type of erection happen. You need a wet dream to have that. It's just like the heart is just working.
Yes.
Okay.
And I tell these brothers, I said, brothers, you don't need Viagra. You need vegetables.
Yes.
Eat those vegetables.
If you do a seminar on just that subject, I bet you
brothers will be at Whole Foods tomorrow.
Yeah. You know, because that industry is like $4 billion a year. They anticipated like $4 billion next year or something like that. These guys buying these pills and all these business. Man, that's killing you.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Trying to get that blood. No, exercise. Like this morning, I do what is called a ruck, RUCKING, ruckings. And that's basically, everybody do that. That's having a weighted backpack on you. So in other words, I'll have a 30-pound weighted backpack and I'll walk 4 miles. You know what I mean? And then I'll do something Tuesday or Wednesday, I'll run, whatever. But, you know, it builds your legs and your back. You know, everybody kind of does that, but they won't have 40 pounds or 30 pounds on them. They may have a light backpack. You know what I mean? But it builds your heart. Because that's besides your brain, that's the most important muscle that makes everything work.
I jump rope.
That's a good one too, because I did that this summer.
Yeah, I jump rope. I loved, back in the day when I was like a workout addict, that was my go-to, was my jump rope. So as I got older, I was like, you know what? I just don't want to go. I don't want to deal with the gym anymore. So I have my free weights, and then I have a total workout machine, and then I have my jump rope. So my jump rope is my aerobic, and I do that. I work out every other day, and I literally do like 5 sets of 100, just literally. Excellent. Fast. And then I run up. I have like stairs in my house, so I just run up and down the stairs and just do all that.
Yeah, keep that going. You know, during the pandemic, of course, the gym shut down, but I didn't need a gym. I used to go out, to a calisthenics park, and I would jump rope, and then I would do pull-ups, push-ups, squats, that type of thing. And one time, I think last summer, it was hot. And I normally don't take my shirt off, but I decided, let me take my shirt off, you know what I mean? Because there's nothing but brothers out here, and there's some sisters around the track, You were
showing off, but go ahead.
Yeah, well,
and there were some sisters over there, and if I was one of them sisters, I'd have been like, I'd have been running like 5 miles. Like, hey.
One young cat, well, you know how brothers be talking. I told him how old I was, right? Now this is before I took my shirt off. Then one day I just took it off, and one of the brothers, and he was kidding also. He said, "Man, why are you trying to show off, man, and upset all of us up here, man? You just trying to show off."
You got you.
You was. But you know what? Own it, because guess what? There ain't a lot of brothers within your age range that looks as great as you. Yeah. I mean, you could look good and be disgusting on the inside, but I mean, you look great and you're healthy. That's great.
Thank you.
And the most powerful part to me is also the energy.
Yeah.
I feel like we all suffer that energy level as we get older, and it is a lot because of the food that we consume.
Oh, no doubt. Remember,
you still love.
Remember, Shahidah, you're eating a dead corpse, so you're taking death. You're taking death.
He says it as listen, Shahidah. He says it as I woke up this morning, worked out, and then seasoned my lamb chops to go on the grill this afternoon. And now I'm looking at those. I'm gonna go downstairs and look at those lamb chops and be like,
"But you're still gonna eat them now."
I am, because I don't like to waste no money. I don't waste money. but I'm like, I'm gonna cook them.
You're gonna be like that fried chicken was the day he
Oh.
mama.
And you already know I'm the queen of the fried chicken. So
Here's the
if
thing.
I give up the fried chicken, my family's gonna disown me.
Here's the thing, Tanya. Eat it all up, just don't replace it.
Okay. But okay, so here we go with the plant thing.
Yeah.
I've had this conversation with family members of mine. This whole, when you say plant-based,
Mm-hmm.
like the plant-based meats and stuff, I've gone back and forth, and I don't debate people with it because I don't know too much about it. But I've had people within my family, they're like, I'm not eating what's plant-based meat? Like that doesn't seem healthy.
Yeah.
And then you also look at, they're like, I'm looking at commercials, and they're like, oh, one commercial is like plant-based meat, and then the next commercial is plant-based laundry detergent.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah.
And they're like, how the hell am I going to eat some plant-based meat? And then what's the laundry detergent made out of? If it's plant-based, I have a lot of black conspiracy theorists in my family. Like, they're just trying to kill us all. They just want us to this crazy meat, and they're trying to kill us. I'm going to just go back and get my regular meat. And I'm just like, oh God, here we go.
What they already killing us.
I know.
You can put bad food in the hood, kill a lot of folk with heart disease, stroke, high blood pressure, obesity, and not get charged with a homicide.
And that's a whole nother conversation, because I was in LA last year, and actually this time last year, and I was riding around with my family member that lives out there, and we were driving through Inglewood, Compton, Crenshaw, whatever. And it was disturbing that LA's big. It is what it is. I mean, you can drive down Crenshaw Boulevard for like 13 miles and it's still Crenshaw Boulevard. And it's like every corner within, where Black folks lived, Church's Chicken, Popeye's Chicken, Kentucky Fried Chicken, McDonald's, Taco Bell. There were I noticed a liquor store, everything. There were no supermarkets. And then every once in a 3 or 4 mile radius, we saw like the Mexican folks out there with their carts selling fresh vegetables and produce or what have you on the corner. And people were lined up. And I'm like, is this the only way that folks in this area are getting their produce and their vegetables? This isn't right. And why is it that you have all of these fast food joints? They're killing us, basically.
Yeah, absolutely.
If you go in the South as well, I mean, I lived in Mississippi for 6 years. You go in the South, they're very, very big on fast food places, or even just chain restaurants, where you can go to the city of Hattiesburg, and on either side of the highway, it's just like miles of just fast food places. And when you think about obesity, that's one of the states you think about. No
doubt. I mean, it's intentional. Yeah, it's intentional.
It is.
That's white and Black there, though.
Yes.
So you keep the poor with unhealthy eating habits, and their education about food is very poor down there, where they're growing food, which is amazing.
Right. And I think Mississippi has the number one state with the highest obesity rate.
I think I would believe it.
I believe so. I believe they do. Yes. But even supermarkets, it's like, how is it that you don't have a supermarket close by to you? I mean, I was in New York.
That about urban areas.
I was in New York like 2 years ago. Yeah.
Supermarkets.
Yeah, I was in New York like 2 years ago for a business trip, and I stayed in Harlem because I hadn't been. The last time I'd been to Harlem was in 1988. And everybody kept talking about, like my friends and everybody, that I have a nephew that lives in the East Village, but he's like, oh yeah, Harlem's great. And I'm like, stay out of Harlem. I mean, it's been a long time since I've been to Harlem. So I'm like, oh boy, you better stay out of Harlem.
Let me tell you what it looks like now.
Yeah,
I've been there. And when I went out there for my business trip, I specifically stayed in Harlem. My business trip was in Manhattan. I was like, I'll just drive. I don't care. I'm staying in Harlem. And it was 7 o'clock at night, dark. And I left my hotel and I walked up and down 125th Street.
Mm-hmm.
And is it Colon? Is it, what's the other street?
Adam Clayton Powell.
Adam Clayton Powell, yes. Because I went to Red Rooster for dinner.
Oh yeah, yes.
I had to go there because I'm a foodie and I love to cook, so I had to go.
I
had to go to my man's restaurant.
Luther King. I mean, that's 125th Martin Luther King Avenue.
But I noticed immediately as I was walking, a couple of things. I was like, it's 7 o'clock at night and it's dark, and I'm actually walking on the street by myself, and I feel safe as hell.
Yeah, you ain't worried about that. Yeah.
I get to the corner and that's it. I had to take a video of it and I posted it on Facebook, and I was like, oh, it's all over when you're standing on the corner of Adam Clayton Powell Boulevard and 125th, and boom, there's a big giant ass Whole Foods on one side and a Starbucks on the other. I'm like, we're done. I'm like, Black people, kiss a good night. Black people of Harlem, if you own your properties, keep it. Don't you give it up. Don't you sell.
Yeah, that's on 125th and Malcolm X Boulevard.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, Whole Foods is there now, and a lot of other stuff now.
But again, it infuriated me because, again, back to our neighborhoods back in the day, and even some neighborhoods present day, like you got to drive a country square mile to go to the supermarket.
Right.
To get healthy food. Why is it now that because of gentrification that now we got a Whole Foods there? There should have been a supermarket in that area years ago for folks like us to go and shop and get our healthy foods and healthy produce and
well, that's another aspect of racism. It's called nutritional racism.
It's unbelievable.
I mean, guys, think about all the when you speak of like in our neighborhoods, especially urban neighborhoods, even though we didn't have like a Whole Foods or big supermarkets, we did have like, Jamaican stores that sold a bevy of like, fruits and vegetables, even from different parts of the world that we had that a lot of people just never took advantage of.
Yeah.
Because your mentality is that if it's not Stop and Shop, or if it's not this place, if it's not white owned, that it can't be that good. And,
that's right.
Growing up, I remember Mattapan Square, you had a big, Jamaican place, Dudley, we had those things. But Kevin, I wanted to ask you about this anthology that you're participating in. And could you give us a little, kind of like a preview about what you're speaking about, what you write about in that anthology, and, how important it is, again, for African-American men specifically reading this and about food and education?
Yes, the anthology that you're talking about is called Brotha Vegan, Brotha, Brotha Vegan. And it's a companion to Sister Vegan that came out about a decade.
Oh, I didn't know.
A. Breeze Harper was the editor of that anthology, and Omawale is the editor of this one. And it has Black men talking about, as the book states, about the importance of Black men of color, becoming vegan. It should be released, I believe, next month. I'm not sure. I keep checking Amazon, which says next month, and I'm not seeing anything, but it's on Amazon. You can pre-order it on Amazon, Brotha Vegan, Brotha. My contribution is why Black men should go vegan. That's my contribution, and a couple of things we talked about already, and I think, because of the issue of racism that has disproportionately affected not only people of color, but especially Black men, that we have to take care of our health. Health is warfare, because if you don't feel good, listen, men usually set the tone in their household, basically, you know what I mean? When if a brother is healthy mentally, physically, and spiritually, it will set the tone with his woman, with his children, and society. As Frances Cress Welsing said in her book, The ISIS Paper, she said that the brunt of the attack in white supremacy is to go after Black men, because if you destroy the man, he cannot, the reproduction goes down, the protection goes down. This is why you get these guys who get, when they go to court and they sentence these folks, these juvenile lifers, they got a lot of juvenile lifers, and that's another way of controlling the population.
Exactly.
Well, that's what they did to us in the 80s with the crack epidemic, but that's a whole nother podcast. So
that's another whole podcast. Yeah. So the brother's healthy, and it helps to change the whole tone of everything. And so my mission is to try to get his brothers, going plant-based so they can be healthy, because it changes your attitude, it changes your mood, everything. Because again, you're not ingesting all that death within you. It changes a lot of things. And so Omowale has gotten a lot of the brothers together to put this together. And I think it was a project 2 years in the making, because I think I wrote something 2 years ago on that. And it finally came together, and I can't wait for a lot of folk to read it, and to be blessed by it. Even if you may not want to be a vegan, you should read it to see what these brothers say about certain things. They got all kinds of brothers, athletes, musicians in there, regular brothers, all espousing that it's important to go vegan. I love the couple, Stick, and I just can't think of his wife's name. Stick of Dead Prayers, but if you look him up, you'll see his wife, and she's done it. And they're both vegans, and they've been married for like over 25 years, and they look like they're 25. You know what I'm saying? Nice. But the interesting thing, I met them at Black Veg Fest. We used to have Omowale, and I cannot pronounce his, I don't want to butcher his last name, but you'll see him on Instagram. He started this thing called Black Veg Fest in Brooklyn. And the first year, a lot of folk didn't make it because it was raining. But I came the second year, and it was like amazing to see all these beautiful Black people who are vegan running workshops. So I met Stick, and again, his wife's name, Skip, doesn't come to me at this moment. But you talking about people who are just like, they in love. They've been married 25 years. They got 2 boys, and they're vegans. I mean, that was just a beautiful sight to behold, of a couple who is now healthy, but they have a healthy respect for each other, and they still in love with each other. You know what I'm saying? Which is something that, as a Black community, we don't see a lot of that. You hear these war stories that goes on and stuff like that, but it's still possible, if people begin to put in the work and they match very well. I don't want to get marriage therapists here, but when you match very well and you communicate, you don't hold stuff back. You immediately say, hey, this is the issue. And we're not trying to see who wins this battle. We're trying to enhance our relationship better and to understand each other much more, So Brotha Vegan should be out, I think, next month.
Okay,
great. It's on, you pre-order it on Amazon. I'm excited about it. And I think it's going to be a great, great conversation as it relates to Black men going vegan.
I'm going to get it. And I think that in the future, we should have, I want to get it and I want to read it. And then what I'd love to do is have you back. And because Shahidah, I don't know about you, but I'm sure you do. But I already have like 2 or 3 brothers in my head that needs an intervention. And I needs to get them that book. And I need them to be on the podcast and get their lives right. Because
you know what the objection for most men about going vegan?
What?
Here's the objection for most men.
I'm a man.
I can't build muscle mass. That's a lie. Do you know that the gorilla is vegan?
Yeah.
Never ate
even
meat
thought
in
of
their
it that
lives.
way.
So you could build muscle mass is built by, of course, eating proper calories and stuff like that, and stressing the muscles.
Well, I get I'm a man, Tanya. I'm not going vegan. What do I look like? I'm a grown ass man. I'm not eating plants and all of this crap.
Yeah.
What do I look like walking around with a bowl of lettuce and spinach and fruits and vegetables? And I'm like, well, if you don't, you're going to be dead in like 10 years, maybe less, but whatever.
And another thing they say, it's not enough protein. Protein is in everything. Protein is not the problem. Fiber.
Now, what about tofu? Is tofu good?
Yes.
Okay, because
And
I
here's another
love
one,
tofu.
The myth about soy. Let me correct that. They say I don't want to eat no soy because I'll end up getting man boobs. That is not true. Look at Japan. Look at the men there.
Yeah.
They don't have these man boobs. You got what I'm saying?
Mhm.
And so, you know, that's a myth that's been perpetuated.
Because
Matter of
I
fact,
love
you know,
tofu. And every
Asian
once in a
women have a
while,
lower
yeah.
rate of cancer over there in Japan now. They have a
Oh, yeah.
lower rate of breast cancer than women over here. But when they come over here and they start eating that fast food and then McDonald's and all that stuff, and
That's done.
I think Stick says crack Donald's, Murder King.
There it is.
You know what I
It
mean?
is.
Then they get the breast cancer.
Mhm.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So protein is in everything.
Yeah. See, I love tofu. And there are times when I will bypass eating a meat and I will get, like, I try to keep salad every day. Like
Yeah.
I always keep like the vegetables in my fridge, and I will make a big bowl of salad, and I try to get that salad every day, regardless if I'm eating chicken or a steak or a fish or what have you. My mainstay is a big bowl of salad with cucumbers, lettuce, tomatoes, everything. But when I don't want the meat, I usually get tofu, and I will just lightly sear it,
Yes.
you know, in my olive oil, just because I need that little crunch, that little snap.
Oh yeah, no doubt.
And I will lightly sear it in my olive oil in a pan, and then I'll just throw it on the salad and eat it. And I love it. I mean, a lot of people that I know, they're like, how can you eat that? It's like, you might as well just grab a bag of cotton balls and stuff them in your mouth and eat it. I'm just like, no, it's really good. I'm like, I like it. I like it.
You know the interesting thing? What makes meat taste good? Seasoning.
Lowry seasoning salt.
Seasoning. The same seasoning that you put on the meat, you can put on the tofu.
Yeah.
You can put it on your veggie burger or whatever the case may be. Because again, we're not natural meat eaters. We don't have the incisors.
True.
Only Dracula has those things, you know? Right? But you know, and that's fictional. But the bottom line is that if you are a natural meat eater, you'll eat that stuff raw without any seasoning. But you gotta have it seasoned. You gotta have it fried. You gotta have it baked. You gotta have it grilled. You go through all these changes because you're not a natural meat eater.
Yeah. Well, you've opened up my mind, because I really, I mean, before Shahidah had told me about you, probably a couple of months ago, I was on the fence of like, should I try this again and do this whole vegan lifestyle again? But I'm going to I'm glad that you said you need a support system, because when I thought I was dying back in the day when I stopped or started the vegan lifestyle, I would need a support system. So I'm glad that you said that there's all these communities out there, because to go, you know, to kind of gradually go into this vegan lifestyle, I would need that. Because I like to think of myself as a very strong person, but
it's a mindset, like you said.
It's a mindset. And I come from a family, and I live alone, and I come from a family of meat eating, fried eating, unhealthy eating. And I already know if I didn't have that support system, it'll never happen, because my family will look at me and be like, here you come with your salad and your tofu. Oh, but I got, you know, waving a big chicken wing in my face and I'm weak. I'll be like, give me that chicken wing. I want that. Oh, give me that lobster. That
have you ever heard very intentional.
Have you ever heard of this lady that she's doing like 10,000 Black women to become vegan?
No, I didn't hear about that.
Yeah, I'll send that to both of you guys in your IG.
Yeah, send it to me, and because I'm going to put everything that you send me on our website as well, so people can actually have, you know, all these links available, especially your book. But I was saying that, you know, one of the things I do like about veganism, even though I am not a vegan, is the intention behind it.
Right.
You know, and you mentioned that as well. And most of the people who I do know that are vegan, they live on a different purpose than other people. So it does, like you said, it's a mind, it's the physical, it's the spiritual, all in one. And you would not think that food should matter on those levels. It's just a way of survival. but veganism is a different type of survival.
Shahidah, you know how you can continue to protest Black Lives Matter?
How?
By changing what's on your plate.
That's true.
Yes, it's true.
So that's the greatest protest. You don't need to go in the streets. Change your diet. And you say, my Black life matters.
And
you
you know what I wanted to tell you?
Sorry?
You know what I wanted to tell you? And I think I mentioned this to you some time ago. My great aunt is 105 years old.
Yes, I remember that.
She'll be 106 in April.
Wow.
And up until last year, she never used a cane. She wasn't driving, but she was getting up at every party dancing, you know, and she still has her mental facilities intact. You know, I mean, she might not hear you completely anymore, but she remembers things. She has conversations. She's still, you know, mentally strong. Now, she's not a vegan.
Right.
But when you hear her speak about her life and how she does eat, because she's eating some fried chicken, and how she does eat, it's still with that intention of my body is this, and I want to respect it on some, you know, some kind of level. So I always feel like between the two, because, you know, I know there are some like very aggressive vegans.
Oh, yes.
Feel like
it's like religion.
Absolutely crap for not that lifestyle. And then there's those meat eaters that are just so aggressive about them wanting to have the meat. There's a medium in everything.
Sure.
You know?
And I would also say, Shahidah, also, you know, there's some people who smoke, drink, they do everything, and they live to be 100, something like plus. That's the grace of God, but that's not the average person.
No,
that's not the average. That's just the grace of God.
Kind of average in my family, though. Thank God.
Yeah.
Well, that's average in mine too.
I would tell you.
I'm like very, very grateful for these genes, and I'm hoping that I'm one of those.
See, I have these same type of genes in my family also. But see, the thing is that, hey, when I stop eating meat, you see, the stress, the thing that we go through in this society, you are empowered against it. Because you're not adding that food stress.
Yeah.
Exactly. Get it.
You know, and I got to tell you, I'm a single
incredible
guy, and I'm going to tell you, whoever's listening to this, you know, if I decide to settle down, I'm sure I'm going to do that. My partner, my lady, has to be vegan. I can't have nothing frying in that house. Smell like meat.
That would not make sense.
No,
well, that's not a good look. Yeah.
I mean, I'll help you make the transition, but if we really getting serious about this, we got to be on one page. You know
I agree with that 100%.
Yeah.
Well, thank you, Kevin.
Thank you.
Oh my God, this was awesome. Kevin, we have to have you back. I swear.
Sure. Have to have you back.
And I got to say, it's not my book; it's an anthology. I'm just contributing to the anthology.
Right. But still, I mean, your contribution, we definitely want to at least read it because it actually affects the whole community. We want our brothers to be, you know, physically strong and mentally strong.
Yes.
You know, and I think you and I talked about that trauma the other day. And I hope that is part of the anthology addressed in the book as well. And maybe next time you can come back and talk about the physical trauma that leads to obesity in our community.
Yes, absolutely.
You know?
For sure.
So again, thank you for, you know, joining us.
Can I get my social media information?
Go ahead. Yeah, give it. And I'm going to put it online.
Throw it out there. And we'll put it all on our social media too.
I'm on, of course, Instagram as The Veganbourne, BOURNE. I'm on Twitter as Dr. Kevin L. Jenkins, JENKINS. And then I'm on Facebook as Kevin Jenkins. And there's so many Kevin Jenkins there on Facebook. But
Look
I'm
at
the
the
guy
picture
in the profile with the suit on, standing in the hall. You know, that's the one I change my profile every month. So, you know, see a lot of Black history stuff on there and other stuff, security stuff, you know, so I'm on.
Awesome.
Let me say how I actually met Kevin on Twitter. And he slid in my DMs. You did.
Okay.
But it was because we connected on both of us love history and books.
Yes.
And he gave me a bevy of books to read, which I did. And, you know, so and it's, to me, the sexiest thing on a man, other than his physical, is his mind.
Oh,
Thank you.
So you are
sapiosexual. I say that all the time.
What
So
is it?
I'm
I never
I'm like
heard
that
it.
too.
We are sapiosexuals. That means we're more
Oh, I am
attracted
too.
to
I
their
am one
brain
too.
intelligence.
I love
than,
smart, intelligent Black women.
yes.
That
Mhm.
kind of gets me start sweating a little
It
bit.
drives me crazy. I do the same thing. Like if I have a good conversation with a man that's like highly intelligent, I'm like, it's like butter. I'm like, I'm melting right now. I love you. Let's get married.
I saw your Instagram today, Shahidah, and
That was from Tanya. No,
That was mine.
oh,
Blame it on me. That was me. That was all me.
and I had some laugh emojis on there.
That was me because
Tell it
listen,
like it
I'm
is.
not sorry. I'm telling it like it is. I'm not sorry.
Yeah,
Listen,
I'm just putting it
having
out
to go through a pandemic, even though I'm used to being alone, this has been tough. Like I crave the human touch. I hate that.
I was saying to somebody
I hate to say it.
early in the pandemic, somebody in my church who kind of gave me a hug. I said, "Oh, please be careful because I haven't had a woman's touch in a long time."
Thank you. So, I mean, I don't feel bad for posting that. I don't feel bad at all for posting that because
No, don't feel bad. Don't feel bad.
I feel
But when I
bad.
posted it, my daughter says, "You are a mother, ma'am."
I know.
That's another
You can't be
discussion
in
altogether,
here.
right? We need to have our own private, unrecorded.
First of all, I'm blocked on hers, so I don't know how she saw mine. But again, let's wrap this up. And I'm like, again, thank you very much. And I'll put all the
Yes.
information. It was a great talk today.
Awesome.
Thank you so much for having me.
Thank you so much. Keep
All
in
right.
touch.
I'm gonna keep in touch because I want to know how you guys do that because I want to be able to do the same thing, with the recording.
Very easy. Don't hang up. We're going to stop recording real quick.
Okay.
But catch us next time on the next episode of Still Dope. Hold on.